G'day everybody. Welcome back to Paddlecast Quarantine Edition. I hope you're enjoying these daily podcasts from SUP Racer. I certainly am. It's a real thrill for me. It's a real honor. It's a privilege to be able to chat with a really interesting paddler from around the world every day and hear their stories. Not only that, but be able to share those stories with you guys in the SUP community. So I'm definitely enjoying this. I hope you guys are too. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode because I certainly did. Today's guest is a good friend of mine, Nicola Masci from Italy, whose name I am surely butchering. My Italian is very rusty, so let's just call him Nico from Italy. A good friend of mine. Nico spent, I think, close to a decade living here in my hometown in Australia, learning how to paddle, and he and I trained together a lot. We raced together a lot. I got to know him and his wife quite well, and he's just a great guy. All around, he's a good bloke and he loves his paddling. He's very passionate about getting out there on his board and enjoying the ocean, enjoying the open spaces. And for that reason, I wanted to catch up with Nico because he's since moved back to Italy, which is the hardest hit nation in the world in terms of the coronavirus pandemic. So I was very interested to hear, how he's been coping with being in lockdown for a month and a half, how his outlook on paddling and the sport in general has changed in that time. And just how he's, prevented himself and his family from going insane while they're literally locked indoors for weeks and weeks at a time. Nico was telling me that today was the first day he'd been outside in close to 7 weeks. Him and his wife run a beach club, like a stand-up paddle windsurfing rental business on the beach in Italy. And he was allowed to he was given permission to go down there and just do some maintenance on the club in the hopes that maybe it will be able to open in the summer in a couple of months. But that was the first time, I think he said, in 45 days that he'd been outside. So just imagine that. Not only can you not go paddling for a couple of months, you can't even go outside for 45 days. So it was great to catch up with Nico. He was in good spirits as always, which is extremely impressive given, the hardships they're going through in Italy. We're definitely thinking of those guys over there, and hopefully that situation can can improve very soon because that is tough to be inside for so long. But Nico, as always, he was positive and we had a good catch up. I think we spent most of the time actually talking about the 11 City Tour, which has kind of become a theme of Paddlecast over the past couple of weeks. It seems every second guest, all we talk about is the 11 City Tour. You can tell that it's a very special race for me and it's clearly a very special race for a lot of other paddlers around the world. So if you somehow haven't already, please add the 11 City Tour to your bucket list. It is one of the grand classics in the world of paddleboarding. And Nico and I reminisce about a little story we shared last year where absolutely everything off the water went wrong for us, but we still ended up having a great time on the water. So I'll let Nico tell the story there. Anyway, folks, I'm going to try and resist the urge to do a long, rambling intro. Let's just get straight into it. Here he is, the pizza chef from Italy, the legend, Nico. Welcome to Paddlecast Quarantine Edition. Nico, all the way from over there in Italy, buddy. How you doing? Finally, somebody with a shiny forehead. We were just joking that we got matching hairstyles. Man, how you doing over there? You guys have been in lockdown longer than anybody.
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, but as I said before, I try to be as much positive as I can. And I'm pretty lucky. I just spent the last few days on the beach and try to clean and get everything organized for the summer. So I can't complain much. But it's pretty strange. Bang on for 45 days without even go for a walk or I don't know, run or paddling, of course. So it's not easy.
You've been inside for 7 weeks, basically. You're saying when you went down to your beach club to do some maintenance, when you're allowed finally outside, that was your first time out in like 7 weeks?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I'm pretty lucky, I would say.
How does it feel? Like what happens psychologically when you're inside that long? Because you got a family, you've got a young child, a wife. What's it do to your mind when you're stuck inside?
what I did is just jump on the bike, and I rode the bike probably at 60 kilometers an hour to get on the beach. That's what I did.
So you were excited to get outside.
Yeah, super excited, super excited. I mean, on the other side, we're a little bit lucky because we have a little garden here back home, so we we're lucky enough to spend a little bit of time outside and let my little one play with us. And otherwise, I think is it would be very crazy. But yeah.
Did you know
Um,
when this all started 7 weeks ago? Did you have any idea that it would still be going on 7 weeks later? Because it was originally 2 weeks, right?
yes, definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that it will take that long, and that we actually still on the place where we actually don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. They definitely few great news um, from the news that we will probably be allowed to do some things more in the next few weeks. But unfortunately, when you take the news from the TV, from social media, there is a lot of controversial news, and it's actually hard to understand what is going to be the real truth. Um, so we're gonna get some real great news, and to move on, and to see those numbers just dropped completely. I saw actually a few days ago that Queensland or probably Western Australia has the number 0 new infected in the last few days, which is great. And we hope we're gonna be in the same situation quite soon.
Yeah, we're
That is my hope.
we're very lucky here in Australia. I mean, we live on a big island, as you know. You lived here for many years, and
Yes,
that's
yes.
we've been really lucky. I mean, we're still allowed outside. We can go paddling and surfing every day, so we're extremely fortunate. And we definitely feel for you
Mm.
guys over there in Europe and Italy in particular, where you're stuck inside. I mean, I'm guessing you haven't been paddling for 2 months now.
Not at all, unfortunately. Yes, I've been trying to make all the little ergo paddling stuff back home, but it's okay. But it's not actually mentally help because you can do training. You can try to have kind of the feeling are you paddling, like you can feel the muscle they usually use to paddle, but it's mentally completely different.
Yeah.
And that's why I gave up straight away. I mean, I made some things, and I tried to start and paddling
So you were
on,
doing like
and to
indoor
play with.
paddling with a SUP
I
ergo.
did. I've
Yeah.
actually look. I've been looking online, try to actually buy the ergo paddle from USA, which cost nearly 2,000 euros, something like that, which was crazy. But at the beginning, I said, okay, if I need to be stuck back home for the next few months, I want to have something to play with, and keep my body fit anyway. But as I actually try to build some things by myself, I just realized that it will be probably mentally not the same. So I
Mm.
said, okay, I'm not gonna even try with my, the one that I built it. So I said, okay,
What
I'm not gonna try even
What
paddling.
is the difference? What are you missing when you can't be out on the ocean or on the water? What are you craving now?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just watching around you, being in the ocean or in the sea, living the atmosphere around you, the sounds, and well, with the new Age Pro, feeling the nose that is just cutting the water so well. It's just that is something that you can't recreate, you can't simulate. You need something that you need to just live yourself. And so yeah, look, I have my duck skin right now. So it's something that you can't recreate. It's something that you can't simulate. So that's why I gave up straight away, and I said, okay, it's not for me. I used to do a lot of, I mean, 1 hour a day of training, play with my kid, and try to do some exercise just to keep fit. But rather than that, just yeah, no paddling.
I see you wearing the one
I've
shirt
been on
there.
the beach.
I see you wearing the one shirt. I want to ask you about the one boards in a minute because I know you were one of the very first people to test out that magic rocket ship, the kind of the Ferrari of paddle boards. But I want to ask you.
Yes, I did.
When was the last time you raced? Like, when was the last time you did a race?
Whew.
Do you remember?
It was a long time. Yes, it was long time ago. I think I would probably say was the 11th city because I did a few other rides back to Italy. But definitely, I think November. Ago. Yeah, I did November. I did one race on the Italian Championship, and that's I think was the last race.
Well, I asked that
because
that's
pretty much it.
I asked that because what I want to ask you is, how has your appreciation of the sport changed from this lockdown? Like, how is your like? Did you think you were taking it for granted, or because I know that's how I felt. Like I thought, man, we can just go on the water whenever we want. We can go to a race whenever we want. And now that it's not there, you're like, oh, suddenly I really miss it.
Yes, I mean, I used to miss it anyway when I'm not going for 3 or 4 days because of bad weather or something. So you can try to understand how much I'm going to miss it right now. So it's just crazy. And I tell you the truth, I've been on the beach today, just grabbing all the big pieces of wood that comes from the sea. And I've been just stuck watching on the water for probably 30 minutes. And say, oh, why I can't go right now? What's going to happen if I go? I'm not bothering you. I'm not bothering anyone, so I should go. But in the same time, you feel guilty in the same time because you can't go actually. So it's a very sad situation. It's very like I don't have a word to explain. What's the feeling when you are on the sand and you have the boards just 5 meters from you. You have a rack there. You have 20 boards there because we have all the stock from one here, and you can use all the boards that I like, and you can't go. It's just crazy.
It's like being a little kid in a candy store and not being able to eat any of the chocolate. Perfect comparison.
Yeah, exactly the same.
That's really got to test your patience. You must have you started meditating or anything? Like, how are you dealing with this extreme perseverance?
Oh well, try to be and keep busy myself as much as I can and do things that I never probably had the time to do. Probably is the easiest thing.
What kind of stuff? What have you been doing in your extra time?
Home working pretty much. And because we, that my wife and me and my little ones, we just moved back from Australia after 10 years. So we moved in a new place here, back to our place, and we have a lot of things to fix it. So yeah, that's what we've been doing, like painting and thinking about like moving our room in some other place or moving stuff around, and pretty much it.
You must have painted the Sistine Chapel by now.
Pretty much.
What's it like having a young child? How old's your kid now?
Yeah,
a few years old.
3 years and a half. Yes. And we are actually watching a lot of pictures of us back in Australia. So we were watching a lot of videos of us, spending time in Australia on the beach. And because the other frustrating things is that we can't. I mean, I have been here for 10 years, and we were actually coming back just to stay with the family for a month or so. And now we are here, and my family is just a kilometer away from here. And I haven't been with them for 7 weeks. I can't go to their place to visit them. So it's just crazy,
How are they enforcing the lockdown in Italy? Like if you say for example, if you did go paddling, what happens? Do the police come and chase you out of the water?
Look, if you go, look, the thing is, if you go paddling, definitely you are the unique person on the water. So you very lucky to be like someone's gonna come to pick you up,
Yeah.
for sure.
They see you very quickly.
Because then, yes, because there are no boats coming, going. All the traffic on the water is off.
Yeah,
So
right.
so the street is pretty much goes along the beach, so everyone's gonna see you straight away. But even if you go around with a bicycle, it's there is not much traffic around. So and here in Pescara is a very small city. There is no super strictly that the police is going around to stop you all the time. But um, in this situation, the Italians demonstrate that we are very strong and we are following actually the rules. And especially here in Pescara, there are not many people goes around or gathering or things like that.
Yeah.
So which is pretty good, because I think it's the unique way to get off of this situation and to go back to normally as soon as we can.
What's the mood like in Italy? Because I remember maybe a month ago in the early days, Italy was famous because everyone was singing to each other from the balconies, and there was like this national unity. Is that spirit still going, or are people getting tired?
Well, getting tired a little bit, because of course people want to go back to normal, and even myself. I mean, as you know, I'm a pizza chef. I'm working in the restaurant as well, so I do
You're the
my
most
job
Italian
during the
guy
day.
ever, Nico. You're a pizza chef.
But yeah, that's perfect, as you said. And I was working in a very popular pizzeria here in our hometown, and we have been forcing to close. And so I don't know. We completely locked it, and all the spirits of the Italians to go out and enjoy the night, dinner out, it's completely off.
Yeah, Italy's a very
But
social society.
yes,
Like the cafes and the bars, it's part of the
yes,
culture. It's like France. It's just, that's what you do. It must be very,
that's what we do.
very
Yes,
odd.
yes, it's crazy. It's very strange, and the idea to probably reopen it, the place, and allowed just a number of people to get in, and a lot of restriction. It seems very uh, an unreal thing. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's going to happen. That's what it is. I would probably say it's better if we forced ourselves to stay close for a little bit more, and get to the point where everything it could go back to normal
Yeah.
as normal was, rather than like slowly go back. I don't know. Uh, yes, as I said before, it's unreal, and we need to take news as they come, and every day is going to be something's new, and we're gonna take it
Yeah.
as it would come.
Well, buddy, let's talk about something. Let's talk about some happier times. We had
Yes,
a
definitely.
good
That's why I'm here.
a good week together at the 11 cities last year. And I
Yes,
think you and I were two of the first people in the world to try out the crazy new board from One, the rocket ship, that funky looking
yes.
Edge Pro 2.0.
Um, there is actually a very great, funny, crazy story behind my 11 city experience, and I would like to share with you and with all the other guys listening, because I spent nearly 3 weeks before the 11th city in Canarias Island. I've been super lucky to be there, and my wife and my little ones were with me, and we spent time there. We were looking all the islands because we were looking for another place to move on in the next future. And I've been lucky enough to even race in Canarias Island, in Gran Canaria on the Euro Tour, and I did actually very well, and I was surprised myself too. It was great race, great time. We spent a lot of time on the water with other paddlers. It's been great, great. And I've been always following, picture from you guys, and of course from Juan and Paul Energy, and I saw a new age coming up with a very nice new flag on the nose and 11 city customization. I said, that's interesting. I never been doing the 11 city. I knew that the board is coming to Europe. I have my container coming with the new boards in Italy, but they won't be here before probably December. So I said, this is the chance that I have to go there and try the boards as the first. So I said, okay. We was already in Canarias, and I told Guy and my wife, I want to go to Netherlands, and I want to do the 11 city because it's my chance to try the board. That's first. I said, are you crazy? Where are you going? You haven't been training or do anything like this. What are you doing? I said, okay, I don't care. I want to go. And I just text a message to Angie and I said, hey, Angie, look, the board is going to 11 city. Who is going to use it? I said, Chris is going to use it for the non-stop paddling. I said, okay, then is it okay if I use it for the 5 day?
Yeah.
And after a few hours, he texts me back, saying, don't worry, you go for it. And yeah, I just booked the fly. It was perfect situation because I had just to book the fly, go there just with the paddle, and I have already the boards there ready for me. And that's where the story it starts, because you knew what happened.
I know the story, unfortunately, because I was in the middle of it.
Yes. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, that was.
So yeah,
that board got absolute VIP treatment. That was. I had to fly from Europe to Vietnam to pick it up from the factory and take it back. And then when we were at the airport, like 48 hours before the 11 cities, they'd made this incredible special board for us. The airline told us, oh, you can't take that board. Like, it's standard, you're right? An airline doesn't want to take it. And we're like, they'll take it. So we keep talking. It's like, how much is it going to be? Come on, let's make a deal. And they were like, no, you can't take it. That's insane. And so like, man, like at the end of the night, I talked to the guys from the factories, like, we got to choose a different airline. So we just went to every airline counter and said, I don't care how much the ticket is. I've got to get this board to Holland. If you let me take this board, I'll buy a last minute ticket right now. And everyone said no. Like, I've never seen anything like it where like 6 different airlines refused to take this board. And in the end, we ended up air freighting it there, which was like the price of a whole nother ticket. And I think it arrived like 2 days late, and we were swapping boards around, and we each got to paddle it for like a day. But that taste we got, I think we appreciated it even more because we got, less time with it, and we got to like realize just how special that board was.
Definitely. I had the chance to actually compare the timing that I was paddling the day before with the day after that I used the new age. The funny thing is that I arrived and unfortunately my paddle get smashed in 2 pieces. So
the airline broke your paddle, right?
Yes, broke your paddle. And I was at the airport, and I had actually 5 minutes time to get my paddle and jump on the last train of the night.
That's right.
To get from Amsterdam to Leeuwarden. And it was 10 o'clock in the night. And when I was waiting, this bloody paddle coming out from this little gate, and I saw the paddle, and I saw straight away that was something's wrong with it because it was inside the folder, but it was a little bit bended. So I took it, and it just fell apart. I said, no way. And I saw the watch, and my train was leaving in a minute. So I probably ran as crazy as I never done before. I jumped on the train that the door was completely nearly closed. So just banged on the door, tried to open the door, and eventually the guy opened the door and I jumped on the train and I made it. So I arrived just in time in Leeuwarden. Was probably 12 o'clock in the night. You were still on the boat, just doing some computer work. And yeah, we spent probably an hour or 2 just talking because we were not seeing each other for a while, I think. And I said, okay, I'm here. I have one bag, but I don't have no paddle. We don't have a board. And this, and the race starts tomorrow. So what are we gonna do?
Just to paint the picture for everybody, the 11 City Tour is a 5-day race. It's the most epic race in the world. It's so physically and mentally exhausting. Nico rocked up, I think at like 2 a.m., basically the day that the race was starting. You got the very last train from Amsterdam out to the middle of nowhere where the 11 City is. It's like a 2-hour train ride.
Yes.
You just made that last train.
Yes.
Your paddle was broken. The board was still somewhere in the air freight holding area of the airport. And we had about 7 hours until the start of the race.
Pretty much.
But we made it work in the end, somehow.
That's give it to you the idea how nice is the SUP community that give you, the opportunity to and to race even if you don't have anything with you. I was pretty much just with my bag and with my pack, hydro pack and nothing else. And in 7 hours, I just find a way to have a paddle, to have a board, and everything I need to start the race.
Yeah, I think Bart lent us his brand new. He had a brand new race board. It hadn't even been unwrapped out of the box, and he was like, you guys take it. So like, I raced it in the non-stop, you raced it in the 5-day, then we were switching around boards so we could both try the Magic One board. That was
was an awesome deal.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Like the SUP community really looks after each other, and I think there's very few races like the 11 Cities where you get that atmosphere and that camaraderie between the paddlers and that special.
Definitely,
it's like school camp for adults. It's just it's a very special week.
It is. It is special, and it's addicted. I'm addicted already, and I will definitely go back if we were lucky enough to probably be able to race on the 11 City this year again, because it's in September, so we might have the time to everything get fixed, then we're gonna go again. It will be probably the best start to restart paddling after 6 or 7 months no paddling.
That'll be a hell of a party. If that event goes ahead, that'll just be one big party. On the water, off the water, everyone will be so happy.
Yes. 11 City is a very particular race. It's actually not a race, it's a big event, and I'm very promoting the 11 Cities because it's an experience that you need to live. Staying in the boat and paddling pretty much all day, and having the food outside as you finish the race, and food truck are there ready for you, massage, and the beauty of the city around, because you go walking around, even if you have no energy at all to do anything else, you just you taking the ride and you go for a walk and you go around and stop in the bakery or in the little restaurant, you have something for dinner, and you're pretty much ready to go for the next day. And it's a 5-day full of experience and the joy, I think. And it's pretty good.
That's definitely one of the most special events in the world, the 11 City Tour. I was talking with the guys the other day. The event's still on at the moment. Nothing's been cancelled. They're trying to make contingency plans.
That's what I heard too.
Plan B. We might not be able to do the boats or anything, but
the boats,
yeah. At the moment, it's still happening. So that'll be exciting. September. What other events do you miss at the moment? Like, what other events have you realized how much you appreciate?
Well, definitely the 12 Towers that I will miss probably this year, because I've been lucky enough, even in this case, to do the last edition of the 12 Towers just one day before that I left Australia.
Yeah.
So I was super lucky. I mean, because I was ready to go, and actually I wasn't in the idea to race because I didn't have a board. But of course, I mean, Angie borrowed me a board. But I knew that the day after I was leaving So I say, okay, I can't do that. I mean, I can't race and the day after just take 24 hours flight. But, I said, okay, this is probably the best way to live. So, okay, I signed it up and I did the race. And it was actually the the horrible, the most horrible race that I did because my fin, it got broken the last 5 kilometers. So pretty much I've been paddling prone on my board because I wasn't able to stay on the board anymore. And so it was horrible 5 kilometers to the end. In some way I made it. And as you probably remember, last year we had a finish line on probably, I don't know, super big waves to get in. And I don't know how I made it, but in some way I made it with one board and one paddle on the other hand. So I was super happy to finish that race. I mean, downwinding is probably the most part that I'm missing right now. Because probably here in Pescara we don't have the best condition to do it. But yeah, probably 12 hours another race that I'm gonna miss it, or even the Australian title that I always been racing. Yeah.
What's the paddling scene like in Italy these days? Because it seems like Italy, France for sure, but Italy and Spain, that's kind of the big three nations in Europe for paddling.
Yeah, I think we are pretty strong. We have a very big names, and the new guys, new youngest guys are coming up and pretty strong too. That I think we can do very well. And I mean, all the championship is, for what I remember, probably 10 years ago, was just about 3 or 4 races up and down for the nation. But right now, last year was already probably 10 or 11 races around Italy.
Yeah. In the national
this
series.
Year, this year actually is supposed to be already started, and we actually apply as a school for one race as well here in Pescara, but we don't know actually what's going to happen. But I mean, the championship is pretty good, and it runs all the way up and down of Italy, so it's in very great location. So it's great. It's very nice place to paddle. We have a lot of different condition. It could be flat. It could be super choppy sometimes on the Adriatic Sea. We have waves on the other side, Tirreno. We have the two islands that they usually have a lot of wind and waves. We have a lake everywhere up north, and they're amazing place. An incredible place to paddle. With you will never race there because you are too much excited to watching around you.
Italy is a beautiful country. It's incredible.
It is.
It's a very.
Yes.
I've been lucky to spend the last, I think, 13 years in Europe every summer. I used to live there in Sweden, and then when SUP races started, I'd go back every year for the races. So this is the first year in, I think, 13 years that I haven't been there, which is odd. But for a long time, I hadn't visited Italy until about 2016, 2017. And for some reason, it was never like on my bucket list. I was like, like there's too many tourists. It's like too popular. Like, there's just lots of crowds. I don't need to go to Italy. And then there was one race in Noli up in Liguria.
Yes.
Franz invited me to, and he was just like asking me. He's like, come on, man, come down and like, talk about the race or whatever. And we'll give you a place to stay. It's the nicest town in Italy. I was like, I bet everyone says it's the nicest town in Italy. Like that, whatever. And after a while, I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll come, but I've only got 48 hours because I was going to go to another race after that. And anyway, I get there. My flight's delayed by 5 hours. I arrive like you at 2 a.m. in the morning. Franz picks me up. It's pitch black. I can't see anything. I don't know where I am. We drive to this place, and he's going, oh, sorry, man. Like, I was going to get you an Airbnb, but it's booked out or whatever. Like, you're going to have to stay at my parents' villa. I was like, oh, man, come on. was like, all right, like he's looking after me. Like I appreciate it. I was like, let's just do the weekend. It'll be fun. Let's just do the weekend and then I'll go to the next race. I wake up in the morning and it's like this postcard. Like you couldn't even like make a picture this perfect. I can see the whole town. It's in this beautiful little bay, all these old Italian buildings, perfect turquoise water. I was like, this is paradise. I was meant to be there for 2 days. I stayed for 6 weeks. I didn't leave. I fell in love with Italy.
Incredible.
Like the Italian way of life. I really, really admire that country. It's a very, very special place.
Nol is a very special little place.
That town
I've
is
been
beautiful.
there actually at the race with friends on 2018, I think. I was visiting in Italy for a month and a half, and I decided to do a few races of the championship, and I've been there. It was incredible.
Ugh.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's a magic little town. There's so many beautiful spots, like the Italian Riviera. I mean, everyone knows Cinque Terre. That's a famous place, but there's 100 Cinque Terres all the way along the coast.
Yes, I mean, even down south in the highlands, like Sicily or Sardinia, it's a place that I've been myself actually when I was a little kid, and I can't wait to go back again right now because I knew that I can actually explore the place in different way because now I can paddle around. I can jump on the board and, just do all the way around the island. I see all the rocks and the climbing, a crazy place there. So I can't wait to go.
What's the most,
really, I can't
is
wait
there any
to go.
secret places in Italy that you can recommend? I'm going to try and find a picture of this little town.
Probably the Amalfi Coast. It will probably a very the nicest place to go because there's a lot of climbing and rocks that you can just paddle down. That you can go in. So it would be crazy to go there and just paddling around and watching around you and experience the place in different way. This is the
view I woke up to, something like this.
In Oli, yes, that's what it is.
It was ridiculous.
It's just amazing. Yes.
That's what we don't have that in Australia. Place. Australia, I mean, indigenous people have been living here 40,000 years, but modern civilization's only 250 years old or so. So we don't have that history, those old little towns, those classic little villas.
No, they actually, you won't have that feeling for sure, which is probably unique around here in Europe, especially in Italy. So, yeah.
We got to do some more races in Italy. We could do like an 11 city tour along the coast of Italy. Just stop at one of these little beach towns each time.
Yes, I think it was already on the plan to do a kind of 11 city around the Elba Island, if I'm not going wrong. But then something's changed and it didn't happen anymore. But I think definitely we have a lot of plays and a lot of good things definitely to organize something special for sure. Definitely.
Where are you going to go? When you're allowed back on the water, when they say, all right, the gates are open, you're all allowed back in the ocean. What are you going to do?
Look, from where I am now, I probably just run or ride my bike for 500 meters straight into the beach, and this is pretty much where is the little shack where all our boards are, and straight into the water pretty much. I don't care if it's raining or if it's windy or if it's, snowing during summer. I don't care. I just go. Pretty much it.
I was going to say, do you suddenly, would you be happy to paddle in, because everyone's got their favorite conditions, right? Like nobody likes to paddle in headwind. But I imagine when this is going on, everyone was like, I'll take headwind right now. I'll do a reverse downwinder.
That's okay. Look, after the first day at the 11 city, I think I will be able to paddle anywhere.
That's true. 11 cities is notorious for its weather. And last year was a roller coaster.
My goodness. That first day I said, look, I think I told my mind at least 1,000 times why I'm here, why I'm doing that, why, and even talking with other people around me, I said, why we are here, why we doing, why we don't just stop here. I just asking, look, do you think there is someone is gonna come to pick up us if we stop here? Because we need to stop it. We can't paddle against this bloody wind. And actually, I found the first guy from US. He was riding, I don't know, like not an inflatables, but like a very wide board, and he was on the black shirt, so he probably was a master guy. And the first thing he told me, he said, this is the best condition that we need to go forward. What? So he tried to push me all the way. And then, I felt, because I saw even your film regarding the Yukon, and and now I realized what means, to be inside your mind and work with yourself to get through kind of things like this. Because after the first day, I 100 times I say, I'm gonna give up, and even the idea that the boards was coming, and I said, I need to try that board, and I want to try the boards, but I said, okay, I can try even the boards outside of the race. Okay, I'm not gonna race anymore. But then it's just as you just pass the first finish line, then when you get actually hooked in, because as you finish the first day, you're just crossing the line. I say, okay, I can do it. I made it today. I can do it. Even if you're thinking, okay, this is just the first day, we're gonna do another 5 days. Crazy. It's not tomorrow. It's not just another 10 kilometers. It's a 45 kilometer. And if something's going wrong as today, that we have 20 knots wind against all the way, I won't make it. But there is something that is just switching on your mind, that telling you that you can do it. And actually, I've watching my result on the watch, I saw that my timing was getting better and better and better. I had the cramp on my legs just the first day. It was a horrible day, as you knew, but and actually, at the first stop, the mandatory stop after 22K, you need to stop for 15 minutes. And actually, it took me probably 40 minutes to go back on the water again.
Yeah.
At the first day.
So you almost quit on that first day?
Pretty much, because I had probably 5 minutes of cramp just lying on my board after 21 kilometers. I don't know why. It probably was. It was just something in my mind. I don't know, because after that day, I always felt better and better and better. So I stopped at the mandatory stop, and I start drinking and eating, and get all the other impression for others paddlers. And I say, I'm gonna stop a little bit more. I need to warm it up, and I need to get my energy back. As I jumped back on the water, felt okay. And as I finished the first day, I said, okay, this is something that I want to do. This is something that I want to do even in the future, because I love it.
What was the point when everything changed for you? Because I know I've done that race 5 times now, and especially the first couple of years, it was that first day and that second day when I wanted to cry and quit and go home, and I was hating life. And then it's usually after the end of the second day that I start to feel good. And the third day, you're like, yes, we can do this. We're halfway. The fourth day, you're like, man, I feel really good. And the fifth day, you're like, let's keep going. Why are we stopping?
I think, mostly because in my mind, just switch the challenge myself, to say, okay, I want to do it because I want to demonstrate myself that I can do it. That I've been paddling for now nearly 10 years. I've been lucky enough to learn how to paddle from probably the best people in the world how to paddle, because I've been lucky enough to paddle with Angie and Paul and Jake and the great paddlers for 4 or 5 years, and they pretty much they teach me everything that I knew. So I said, okay, I have all the tools, I have the best gear that I can ask for, and there is no way that I flew from Italy to here, and I mean that I can't finish this race. I want to ride myself rather than I wasn't care about the position, the timing, and everything else. I was just racing against myself and saying, okay, I can do it. I can do it because I have all tools and even my mind is strong enough that I want to go through. I want to succeed. I want to finish. I want to say to my wife that I spent 5 days away from them, but I learned a lot of myself. True. Because you have a lot of time when you're paddling and you're thinking about lots of things that you never think before. So it's a very great time on the water.
Yeah, I don't think there's any race quite as unique and special as the 11 City Tour. It's basically 200 kilometers of physical and mental. It's not torture, it's just a test. It's a challenge, and it's an adventure.
Yes.
And when you finish it, the feeling is fantastic. And you want to come back, right? Did you finish and say, I'm coming back next year?
No, I tell you the truth. I finished my race the fifth day, and I was pretty much crying the last 200 meters. I was already crying just before to crossing the line. So it was just the emotional things that I had for 5 days, that just building on me, that when I crossed the line, I couldn't just, be happier and emotionally like into the race, into myself, that I, just automatically just like I was in like crying, and it was the organizer outside of the water just took my board and my paddle and helped me to jump off the water, and just instantaneously just hugged me straight away. So it was just a very emotional moment that I will probably remember forever. That crossing of the line of the last day was sensational.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
I think that's very well said. For me, the 11 cities is like the spirit of our sport. There's just so many incredible aspects to it. It's such a wonderful adventure, such a wonderful story, and everybody that finishes and completes that journey just feels incredible. And almost everybody wants to come back. That's the craziest thing about this race. It's this nightmare of wind and rain and sun and clouds, and it's a roller coaster in every way. But almost everyone that finishes says, "Oh, I can't wait to come back." It's a little crazy, like a cult.
Yes, it is. It's an addiction, and also even the guys that were sleeping into the port. There are people that are still just texting all the time. It's crazy how you live with people for 5 days and they are still like if we were old friends, like from from where we are child. Still, I be chatting with them. Oh, what are you doing this year? Are you going? What do you think? Because I saw the film of Chris video of Yukon. Do you think we should try to do something like that? Crazy things, that brings people together again, even if they are on the other side of the world. Because on the ship that I was, there were pretty much people from US. All of them were probably from US. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing event.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing event.
No, it's very special, and I hope that we can meet up there again in September, buddy. Have a reunion.
Definitely.
Let's do it. And until then, I hope you guys can get on the water as soon as possible. It's definitely not easy times in Italy, but we're thinking of you guys, and man, I hope you can get out there soon.
For sure, definitely. Hopefully. I will definitely bring my boards this time, okay? I'm not going to wait till you bring my boards.
Don't wait for me. I'm never on time. You should know that, Nico.
I will bring 2 boards, okay? So you don't have
bring
to
one for me,
fly
please,
anymore
because
with
I
the
probably
board.
won't have mine either.
No worries.
All right, man. Well, it was a pleasure to catch up with you, and I really enjoyed reminiscing
to
about the
meet you.
11 cities, and for sure we're going to meet up there sooner or later. And until then,
Sure.
I hope you and the family stay safe, stay healthy, and let us know when you can get back on the water.
Thank you
Let's
so
chat
much.
again soon.
I will see you here in Italy soon as well.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait to get back there. All right. Cheers, buddy.
Give a hug to Angie. Give a hug to Angie and Paul from me, okay?
Absolutely. Sounds good, man. Thanks for chatting. We'll
Thank
see
you
you again
soon.
soon.
Ciao.